It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for the Walking Dead universe. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Walking Dead timeline, and particularly the timeline of its spin-offs and how it connects to the main show. It's gotten pretty wild, and I'm going to be trying to break it down and try to put it together, piece together where everything is. Of course, this is based on my understanding, so I could be slightly off here and there. But we're going to be taking a look at season 1 of the 3 main spin-offs that have come out: The Ones Who Live, the Daryl Dixon spin-off, and Dead City. And also we're going to be connecting it back to Fear the Walking Dead, and also a little bit of connection to The Walking Dead World Beyond. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So first up, let's talk about the end of the main series, The Walking Dead, which dealt with the end of the Commonwealth storyline. And it pretty much ended with the group taking over Commonwealth and with King Ezekiel and Mercer becoming the new governors of the Commonwealth. Of course, there was a 1-year time jump at the very end, but as far as this timeline video is concerned, we're not necessarily gonna look at it as whether it was before the 1-year time jump or after the 1-year time jump. Some of it is obvious, but some of it not so much. So we're gonna kind of ignore that part of it. And of course, with the post-credit scene with Rick and Michonne's cameo, we know exactly where that sits in the Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live timeline, so we're not even gonna look at that. When it comes to the ending of The Walking Dead's main series, this is actually happening around the same time as 2 other key events in the universe. It's actually lining up with the finale of Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, where we actually see Morgan on a mission to find Rick. So those timelines are roughly aligned. And also, this is syncing up to be around the same time as the end of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Of course, we had a bunch of time jumps at the beginning in the first 2 episodes. We're going to ignore that. Those don't matter. We're going to look at it from the quote unquote now time that they set up, which is after that big 1-year time jump that they skipped over, which was the time when Rick was climbing the ladders of the CRM. So we're really going to look at it from the time when Rick and Michonne reunited. And that is lined up to be around the same time as the end of the main show, which lines up with the end of Fear the Walking Dead. But moving back a little bit, The Walking Dead World Beyond actually takes place before this 1-year time jump that they mentioned in The Ones Who Live. And we know that because of the Omaha attack. The Omaha attack happened, we heard about it in The Ones Who Live, and then they time jumped 1 year. So that's how we know that World Beyond takes place before The Ones Who Live. So it's kind of like a throwback, showing us the stuff that went down earlier in the timeline. But of course, there's more. We have 2 other spin-offs to talk about. The Daryl Dixon spin-off actually picks up just a few months after Daryl bounces at the end of the main show. This is, of course, after the time jump that they showed us at the end of the main show. And of course, he ends up in France. And this timeline could actually be really closely aligned with what might happen after the events of the first season of The Ones Who Live. So if there's a second season, then it lines up with that. If there is none, then it just lines up with whatever the story is after that. And finally, The Walking Dead, Dead City. This happens a few years, maybe 3 to 4 years after the main series ends. This is when Maggie and Negan find themselves in Manhattan. So by this time, it's safe to assume that everything from the Daryl Dixons adventures and The Ones Who Live has already gone down. So it's likely that Rick and Michonne are already back at Commonwealth, and Daryl has probably returned from France too. So if we're looking at it from a reunion perspective, if there are no more huge time jumps in The Ones Who Live or the Daryl Dixon spinoff, then if there's any sort of reunion, it's definitely going to take place in Dead City. unless they just end Dead City as well at some point and they come up with another series or movies or something to bring everything together. If we go with this steady timeline and no major time skips, very, very, very unlikely that we're going to see a situation where the big reunion between everyone happens in the Daryl Dixon spinoff or the Ones Who Live spinoff. It's more likely that it'll happen in Dead City or possibly even just a separate story or series altogether. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.